Thrivers. Welcome back. So, I wanted to be open about this episode with you guys of my first day of work back today. So, I actually was allowed to go back into work on today's date. And I must say, I was really excited, but I was also quite nervous because I know that there's a lot of people that are getting sick right now. And I didn't want to end up getting sick myself. But luckily, there wasn't a lot of people in the office and I was keeping my distance. But waking up at 5 in the morning was definitely really hard for me because I haven't been waking up that early. Like the earliest I wake up now is 6. So adjusting to that was definitely quite drastic. Waking up at 5 in the morning, getting ready, rushing to get to work, trying to beat traffic, and the regular kind of daily mundane things that happen when you're trying to get ready for work. But also at the same time, it felt weird for me because no one has seen me with my hair like this short and stuff. So I was kind of like nervous of like, what are people going to think? What are people going to say? How are they going to react to seeing me with my hair so short? And that definitely kind of like put a dent in my day a little bit, but not too bad. So I was just wondering, how things were going to play out today. And I was excited. I was nervous. And as I got to work, like some people were saying, oh my gosh, your hair looks really, really nice that way. And kind of makes you feel a little better about yourself, I'm not gonna lie. And so as I was sitting at work, like I started getting like quite uncomfortable, like fidgety, like I didn't know what to do with myself because I've gotten used to being at home for so long and not being in the office with people. And so it's like just the process of getting ready, like putting on clothes, what's your outfit gonna be? What are you gonna take to eat? Like all these little things I was just thinking the night before. And I bought like a lot of decor that I wanted to take into the office. So setting up for how I wanted to have my office looked, that was also exciting. And I got to do that today because I wanted a different look as I got back. I didn't want to kind of just walk right into an old plain desk. And so that was definitely uplifting to have something for me waiting. But I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit more about a lot of things that we forget, like how it is to be in the office setting, to be in a work setting, how it feels like to be stressed when you're under a lot of stress. How does it feel to enjoy a happy memory or happy time with people when you're under a lot of other overthinking that you're going through? And I think a lot of that has to do with like just becoming an adult, you know what I mean? Because when we're like in that transitioning from a teenager to like a young adult, I feel some of us kind of want to do grown people things, like go out probably with friends and stuff like that, or say like not have to listen to your parents, or we just can't wait to turn to 21 to be legal and do whatever we want as we please. And we just want to forget about our early years as a child, I think, when we're getting older. And that's something that kind of reminisced with me today that I'm like, I actually do miss my years of being young, but I don't miss getting up early. I don't miss going to work. I'm actually okay with working from home now. I got so comfortable. But even working from home, you forget these things, is what I'm trying to say. You forget like the act of cleaning, the act of curiosity because you're so focused and driven on trying to get your work done or just getting by with your work schedule. And so I don't think it's a bad thing, that it's like because I feel we're like in a hurry to prove that the world, like that we can take anything when we're young. And so I think it's not a bad intention, the amount of motivation it can create, but then as we start to get like more responsibility, I feel like that motivation of adulting kind of just starts to wear off that intention of taking everything the world offers us. And I think if we could take that mindset into our adult years of play, imagine just how we could use that power to like play to learn, to heal and to connect with ourselves. I think it goes to say that a lot of the times we don't think of play as something adults do anymore, you know. We consider something that's something that children do when they're a young age because that's their language. Some of the TED Talks that I was listening to this week talk about how important it is for kids to play because it helps them to heal, it helps them connect. Because at that age, when they're small, play is their language. They don't know how to voice their emotions, they don't know how to talk to an adult about, hey, I'm feeling overwhelmed today because this and this situation happened, you know. So children use play as a form of actually voicing their emotions through toys and imagination and creation and creativity, sorry. And so I think these things are important for us to continue to do as we get into our adult years, and we don't do it anymore as much as we used to. And maybe it depends because of the work field that you play or that you're working on. And so it's something that I've been kind of questioning myself, you know, like, hey, like, what are some things that I can do for myself to feel more like I'm actually curious about life? I'm actually taking on life as more of an adventure than something that I have to get through with work, pay bills. Because if you look at it that way, it looks very dim and gloom versus, hey, how can I make myself have some goals, look forward to some other things, you know, like right now is mostly my health. Try to exercise, try to motivate myself with meditation, prayer, journaling. And so just being curious about these things that can help me have feel a way of like play. But I think in a way children use play as a way of expressing things that they're going through. For example, the TED Talk was talking about she was a therapist, a children's therapist, that one of her clients, she was going through a really rough patch with her family because her father was an abusive father. And so she would grab toys from the therapist when she was doing her sessions. She would grab a shark, she would grab fishies, and she had a little sand area where she would demonstrate that the mom fish and the baby fish would hide in the sand because they were scared of the big shark. And so in that role play, the little girl's portraying the shark being like father being abusive and showing her fear of that father. And then as those sessions continue, she said that she brought in a dolphin and that dolphin represented like a police officer or someone that brought justice to them because the next thing that happened is the shark ends up in chains. So he was put into prison, and she can portray that the two fishies were happy and they were in a new home now as she played with the rocks and decorated the beach area for them. And so it just goes to show how smart we are at a young age, you know, that we can interpret things through play. And then as we get older, we kind of forget about our imagination, our creativity. And so it really like caught my attention to think back of like, what are we doing? You know, like I think that a lot of the times for us to grow, we need to go through something maybe or something hard. But I think this has taken me back in the sense of where's my imagination? Where's my creativity going to? You know, like these are things kids use in the daily when they're playing and things that we can use to heal as well. Our creativity, our imagination, our idea to believe anything is possible at that young age, you know? And with that mindset of like, you can do anything you imagine you want to do. And so that has been like my new mindset of like, how important it is to do that. And even the research that was based on these TED Talks was groundbreaking that just allowing us to be more, I'm not saying carefree or like not worry about stuff that are important, not be responsible, but just taking control of our imagination, our creativity, and our emotions in the sense that we allow for room of play, you know? to allow us to heal, to allow us to connect to others. Because when we show playfulness, it attracts other people and they want to be around that environment of being able to laugh with you, connect with you in that way. And so I think that has pushed me to want to be more playful with just the way I carry myself and the way I'm going about life and not carrying it as a big burden, a big stress. And so I want to encourage you as well, like be playful in the things that you're doing, whether that be in your relationship with your significant other, whether that be in your career, like maybe you're stressing out about trying to get everything done with your career and have it all lined up. Like, don't take it too serious, like you are where you're meant to be right now. Like, you're doing the best you can with the tools that you have, but you're advancing because you're not stuck and you're there because you wanted to move and advance. So you're already a step ahead, and so that's something that I've told myself too, like you have gotten to this place because God has allowed you to see these new things with what you've gone through, like again, sometimes we need to go through stuff to see things differently. And I'm just so thankful and grateful that this has been something that showed me a new way of seeing. Like there's a scripture, don't quote me, don't quote me on it, but it talks about like being like a child, and I never like stopped to think about it. Like, what do you mean be like a child? Like why would you be like a child if you're supposed to be spiritually strong? But kids are noble, they're innocent, Like we need to look at the world like in a noble way, like an innocent lens, instead of like this dark doom or like very scary or very like unsafe place, But instead us draw that kind of world for ourselves. And so I just wanted to give this like food for thought kind of podcast today, something very chill, not very like scripted or very like noted of what I was trying to talk to. I was just trying to have like open conversation with you guys about how do you feel? Like, do you agree? Is there something that you guys think there's more research that has been found about play and how it's helpful or beneficial for us as adults? I really would like to know some of your guys' input because I find this conversation and concept quite interesting for us as adults to be intertwined with these ideas, of learning how to play again as an adult. And so I actually titled this podcast, Allowing the Me to Still Play as an Adult. So just want to encourage you guys, keep grinding, keep pushing through, but don't forget, at the end of the day, your well being is more important and take each day lightly, like don't overburden yourself. And remember, from one thriver to another, keep thriving, guys.